First take. All right. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dorian, and we are back for another review with my. See, we're joined by our guest again, Karama Horne, aka TheBlerdgurl, for another review of. Why am I messing up? No, one more time. I'm sorry. All right. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dorian here, back at it again with another video. With me, as always, is my co-host Robert Butler, and today joining us again is Karama Horne, aka TheBlerdgurl, and we are here to review the episode 2 of Lovecraft Country. So, how are you doing today? First of all, Karama.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
It's so I'm the worst. How are you doing today, Karama?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a little later here for
It
me
is.
than it is for you, but I appreciate. Like, look, when you said you want to talk about Lovecraft Country, I was like, it does not matter what time of day. I will be there.
Yes, and just FYI, she's like 3 hours ahead of us. Me and Robert are on LA time, so I apologize. But Karama said, "Nope, I'm jumping on. I'm talking about Lovecraft, and I appreciate it because she's always there for me. So thank you for joining us, Robert. How are you doing today, sir?"
I'm good. I'm good. I'm super excited to talk about episode 2. This was a really, really solid episode.
Yes, it was. So we're going to be talking spoilers, of course, and we'll save some heartbreaking spoilers for the end. But overall, oh man, this was just another amazing episode. This one, I think it just kept the momentum from the last one. It just had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. So, Caramel, I'll pass it to you first. What did you think of the episode overall?
I thought it was really good. It felt like a season finale. I'm like, we got the premiere and then we got the finale. That's it. We're done. Because that's the kind of energy, and I'm not used to second, third episodes having that kind of intense energy. It was really good. It was really funny because I've heard critics talk about the fact that they felt the pacing was off. I didn't. I think the pacing is different than what we're used to seeing, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Love the fact that we basically span the episode. We start the episode totally happy and gleeful and joyful, and at the end we're incredibly sad. So it was like literally this roller coaster. We also learned about the Braithwaites, the house that they ended up at, and I was really excited to see that. And what I also liked, I've spoken to people who read the book, and they said, yeah, we're off script. So I think it's really interesting that second episode they're not completely like the book. So that fascinated me. But I needed a drink after this episode.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
a
for
gut
sure.
punch.
For sure, and speaking of just the intro, let's talk about that. I just had so much joy on my face when we had the moving on up intro, and we had George and Letty going in different suits and stuff, just having a good old time. And in the back of my mind, I was like, why are they happy? And then you show Atticus, and he has a flashback of the monster. I'm like, all right, why are they acting like nothing's going on? So they addressed it, and it was revealed that they actually had their memories wiped. So RB3, I'll let you speak on that and just the opening couple minutes and like the first 10-20 minutes. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought that was fascinating. Like the way they opened it with I always recognize. I personally always connect that song to the Jeffersons,
Yeah.
theme song. So it was kind of funny seeing them play off that. But when I was kind of seeing, I kind of realized, especially when you get back to Jonathan Major's character, when you look at him, you kind of realize, oh, this is like that part in the hero journey story where you're kind of lured and tempted by like the divine interest, like the divine, being kind of stuck in this one place and not being like wanting to leave or escape because you're just surrounded by all these luxuries. And kind of seeing that really kind of set into motion, like, okay, this show has a very particular thing is going for episode by episode. Every episode is going to be a different chapter in the overarching story, but it's not necessarily going to be the most like connected and the most like serialized. Well, of course, like the story is serialized, but this episode and the first episode both felt like mini movies in and of themselves. So like, and they kind of tell a complete story from beginning to end in both regards. So I kind of feel like each episode is going to be like that. It's going to be mini adventures happening from episode to episode. That's going to lead to a greater finale, I'm sure. But seeing how epic the way this episode kind of starts kind of quietly and mundane and kind of ends on a bigger note, that just kind of signifies, I guess that's going to be like the structure for every episode. So I'm kind of excited to see that, but kind of seeing that that jump off right at the beginning. And also what kind of intrigued me at the beginning is learning about the history of like the Tobias Breathwood, and learning about how they're we eventually find out later on in the episode that connection being handed over to the main character's lineage, to Tick's lineage. and you're just like, whoa, what does this mean? What does this represent? What is this going to go going forward? Yeah, all of that stuff just made it all the more exciting and more intriguing to lead to what we're eventually going to see later on in the episode.
And speaking of his lineage, just that since we're gonna just talk about all of our highlights and our favorite scenes, I guess. So speaking of his lineage, that one moment when he basically just stands up in front of the whole lodge, in front of the whole members, and is like, everybody out. I was just like, yeah, Atticus, that's my boy. I'm so proud of him right there, and I think it's a testament to the writing and Misha Green and the showrunners, because both of you have said like this both of these episodes, specifically this one, felt like a whole series finale. Like it had us on the edge of our seats, very emotional. So I just want to give a testament to the writers for already putting us on this emotional journey and with these amazing characters that we already feel connected to. And we're only on episode 2. Like I already feel like you said, I need a drink, I need a break. I could take a couple weeks off from the show to just so I could get my emotions back together. So overall, Karama, can you just talk about like the end of the episode, middle of the episode, just your general thoughts on how it took us on this emotional roller coaster from some of the bigger things that we got to see throughout the episode?
Well, I think we kind of knew that there was some type of magic involved the moment we find out that Tick is the only one who can sort of see what's happening and know what's going on. I called that early. A lot of people I remember on Twitter were like, why does he know and they don't? I'm like, it's his bloodline.
Right.
And it was shown through a series of flashbacks how his mother's mother was clearly raped by the estate owner, the head of Artem Mansion, not Tobias, his father, who we mentioned. And the way you get that is because they said he took very good care of his slaves.
Yeah, very kind.
Very kind. He was very kind. So everybody knows what, like, that's code for, or a lot of people knew what that was code for. But what's really interesting is it's clear that the Braithwaites all have inherited this magic that they were talking about. So basically William, who answers the door, he has some of it, and the sister Christina, she has some of it, and she also has the ability to control the Shoggoths. The Shoggoths are those Lovecraft vampire monsters we met in the first episode. That they're clearly using cows as surrogates.
That was weird.
They're using cows as surrogates to birth them, which means they control them. And it's very clear when they ask, oh, you're just like the rest of the clan members. She's like, they don't have enough money. They're beneath us. So they're using the clan members to create the Shoggoths to terrorize, other people. Interesting thing about it is I actually fully thought that they'd inherited their powers until we see a scene of Daddy Braithwaite with no anesthesia, having somebody cut into him and cut part of his liver out, which then is served raw on plates to the other members of the Sons of Adam, which is what this entire estate is meant to basically uphold, this cult. There's sort of I would say a skull and bones for the magical set. And what's interesting about that is maybe that's how the children got their powers too. Maybe they didn't inherit them. Maybe they had to eat parts of Daddy's body as well. And it's very clear that this is something he does on a regular basis. So outside of being this sort of Aryan concept, he actually doesn't want to rule the earth. He wants to go to another planet. And I think one of the biggest things about this show and this episode are always, to me, the music. And the music that they use that is out of sync with what you're seeing with the time period. So we heard the Jefferson song, which was, of course, from the 70s TV show. This is not taking place in the 70s. This is taking place like in the 40s or the 50s. The other thing we hear is when they take Tick and they're going to use him to basically whatever magic is left in his bloodstream from the original person who created this whole cult, they're going to take it out of him by force, but in this magical ceremony. And Christina, the daughter, gives him a ring. An interesting thing about that ring is that ring allows him to control his power, which he didn't know he has. So this is in a comic book sense of the way, this is his origin story. This is the magical event that gives him his powers or lets him know what latent mutant X gene he has. And what was so powerful about this scene is it didn't give you a John Williams score. It gave you the voice of Gil Scott-Heron and basically saying the prose poem that is the title of the episode, Whiting on the Moon. And if you listen to the lyrics of that, it's really about how basically Black folks get the life sucked out of them by white folks, and it happens again and again and again. So that juxtaposition was a powerful one that really made me feel like Get Out. It was one of those moments, you know? And that moment and him fighting his way out of that, the person that brings him out of it is actually his ancestor, this woman who we realize is carrying basically his mother or his mother's mother. I'm still trying to figure out how far apart they are. And she's the one that was raped by the original owner of Arden Mansion. And in the story, we also find out that Arden Mansion is burned down before. It is a replica of the original. And you see her in fire. So you realize she is the one that survived the fire, because William the son says, no one survived that fire. Well, one person did. And that one person is his bloodline. And that's the moment that you realize that's his importance. He gets out, and he gets out just in time for the whole place to come crashing down. And I thought we might have lost more people in that, but the Braithwaites. And honestly, I'm still not sure whether or not all of the Braithwaites are dead. Christina and William still might be alive. The interesting thing about it is one way that they get Tick to agree to this crazy ceremony is by, when they try to escape, shooting two of, basically shooting Letty and George.
Yeah.
Now, Letty actually dies, but she is brought back by William. But George isn't brought back as quickly. The other thing that I failed to mention is that they do actually get to find Montrose, who is Tick's father, George's brother, and played by Michael Kenneth Williams, who we've all been waiting for. And he is there as well. And he's trying to nurse his brother back to health, at the same time yelling at his son, who you think is really odd because you sent a letter for them to rescue you. But what you realize when you look at his face is that he's terrified. He doesn't want his son to basically, be taken prisoner, sort of like he was. So all of these people end up together. Finally, yes, I found my dad. I've got my girl. They finally kiss. Tick and Letty, and kiss properly, not the vision that she had that attacked her in her room. And we don't have time to go into that whole thing, how they made his stuff look like a snake. That's a whole other conversation.
A lot of religious stuff here, a lot of religious commentary from this episode.
Religious connotations as well as slavery imagery. And so basically at the end of the episode, everybody gets out, but because George was moved, he bleeds out. And that is the sad thing, that is a little spoilery for the end of the episode. But that is one of the things that was not in the book. And the person who read the book did not spoil the book for me, but they were like, either they're changing a lot in this story around, or he's coming back.
Yeah,
I found that interesting.
I'm praying, because if we're able to bring Letty back without any issues, like within a blink of an eye, within a cutscene, I'm hoping there's some magic involved throughout this series to bring Uncle George back. Because like we said, the writing already had us connected to Uncle George by the end of the first episode. So seeing him die at the end of the episode, I was damn near almost about to cry. I was like, bro, Uncle George, like you put us through this emotional roller coaster with Letty already. And I gotta say, I thought they all killed it across the board when it came to acting. Like
Letty, that's what I'm saying. What Letty's character has gone through, like she relived, like, and then off screen, because it's really funny. A lot of people didn't get that either. When because for all intents and purposes, Christina, the daughter, is Emma Frost. Like she can control, she can give you visions, she can control what you see. Someone was saying she's more like Scarlet Witch. I'm like, nah, she's more controlled than that. She's Emma Frost. And she also can make constructs. So I think when he said, I don't understand why they can't see what I see. Why are you holding us prisoner here? And then the moment she lifted that veil and you heard Letty scream, oh my God, that was just chilling. And that was a thing. A lot of the stuff this episode happened off camera.
I was gonna say, no, actually one of my favorite aspects. Not only what happened off camera, but the stuff that happened when they're isolated alone in their rooms.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a self-therapy session for a lot of these characters, where you learned so much more information about each and every one of them. We learned about Letty's, kind of, I guess, maybe affection for Atticus. We learned about Atticus' PTSD from the war, and was that the actress who played the queen,
Jamie.
she was also the red-skinned alien woman from the first episode. So there's definitely a connection there. Is there a romantic connection?
I think that's his girl from Korea. I do.
Right. But I wonder, what does that mean at the end when he's having to choke her out, and what does that mean for what does that mean for his past, and where is that going to lead for him going forward? And then you learn about George's past with Dora, and who is Atticus's mother, and also, which I think is a funny narrative device that they're using. It turns out to be a survivor of Tulsa massacre of 1921. Or at least Uncle George is, and she seemed like perhaps not. So it's like it's that survivor theme that we're seeing, like you said, like the generational thing from the ancestors to I guess even to Atticus himself. Now we're going to see in this adventure. But I think what was interesting in that is, I wonder, for somebody who, as somebody like me who hasn't read the book. And knowing that maybe Uncle George plays a bigger part in the book, maybe they're transferring the role that Uncle George played in the book to the actual father, Monstro, and maybe that whole revelation of maybe Uncle George is the father, maybe that plays a part into him post life. But when you go into like the reasons why they killed him off in this episode, I think just like you said, Karama, this was like a superhero origin story, and this was like the Uncle Ben of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like the transition.
Somebody's parent has got to die, right?
Exactly. So,
but still, I don't think you hire Courtney B. Vance for just 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you don't hire Anjanou Ellis to sit at home either.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to have a bigger role in this as well. Like, I'm thinking she might be, like, I know another change was that their daughter that is at home is a girl, and that was a boy in the book. So maybe they're giving Anjanou Ellis some of Courtney B. Vance's, work, because we definitely see her in trailers anyway, play up to her namesake Hippolyta, where you see those seem to be flashbacks to Amazon women. So I'm excited to see whatever they do, but I really, really, really want Uncle George back. Like, we might have to start like a Twitter campaign.
We really do. And with that, because I just want to say, like, your breakdown of just like the last half of the episode, and just pulling like the mythology and all that, I just want to say thank you for that, because we need to clip that on and be like, this, if you need an explainer for this episode, Karama's got you, because that was perfect. So thank you for that. Like, it really was. And so with that, like, we definitely want to bring you back again. Definitely have you. But before we wrap up, I want to ask both of you because you had some questions last episode. You said we asked you what you wanted to see in the next episode, and we pretty much got that. You pretty much called it. So what would you like to see in this upcoming episode, and some of the things you want answered, or some of the things you hope to be teased next week?
Well, I don't just want this answered. I'm actually afraid for this scene. The scene where they tell Hippolyta that her husband's died. Like, I don't want, and here's the thing, that first episode where he calls her and he says, maybe you should come along, and she puts the phone to her chest, she knows he's scared. And so I think she probably senses something, but I am not looking forward to that scene where they tell her. Maybe they'll do it off screen, but I am not. She is going to be upset, and I don't think it's going to go well. And I also am interested in what we're going to see out of the daughter. So I think those 2 things.
And what about you, Robert?
I'm just excited to see the next step of the journey. I wonder, we're probably gonna see a lot of moral choices happen next episode around. Is Atticus going to continue going? Was this too much of a hurdle to overcome? I'm excited to see that kind of grapple and that discussion. I'm excited to see the relationship develop between him and his father, because I think in this episode we saw a little bit of it, but it was a little bit more antagonistic than we probably anticipate. But Michael, like an actor like Michael K. Williams, could deliver something really heartfelt and emotional, and I think we're going to get a lot of that through the remaining of the series. But I think we're going to see a hint of that in the next one. So that's what I'm excited for.
Oh, I forgot. There's one thing I forgot to mention. I need to know why George said to him, "You're not his father."
Yeah,
I need that tea.
Me like Robert. We're speculating. I'm hoping we get some reveals. We might get some Maury Povich up in here. I'm excited about that.
You're a mess. I just hope it's not like a Luke and Laura thing and letting and Tick a brother and sister.
Oh no. We can't do that. Please no. All right. Well, with that being said, I want to say thank you guys for joining me again. We will be back next week for another review, episode 3, and the rest of the series. We are so excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button. And where can they find you at, Kara? Oh my God!
It's okay. The Blerd Girl.
No, we're cutting this out, Robert.
Okay.
Robert. I'm sorry. And so with that,
you can't say Robert's name either, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I want to say thank you for joining us, Karama. Where can they find you at?
Wait, I'm sorry. I was sipping juice, so that's gonna be a hard edit. Try it one more time.
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap it up right here. Thank you so much for watching. You can find us here every week. We're going to be doing reviews. Make sure to hit that like button. And where can they find you at, Karama?
They can find me, TheBlerdgurl, TheBlerdgurl, all over the internet, but usually on Twitter.
Yes, ma'am. And then where can they find you at, Robert?
They find me on Twitter, Instagram at Director RB3.
Yes, sir. And they can also find you at The First Cut. Make sure to check them out over there. They have great content, The Meaning of podcast. Definitely check that out. So I want to say thank you guys for watching. Hit that like, subscribe button, and we'll see you soon for more content. Peace up, A-Town down.